I'm thinking about the status of these videos in relation to the status of any writing that I might do that either duplicates or comes out of or has some relationship to some of the things I'm talking about here. And it may be that I don't write about anything, but I suppose I did. Would there be a difference in status? Or more simply put, if there was a book, does a book have a different sort of status to a video? And if it does, what's that difference in status about? I mean, obviously there are ontological differences between a book and a video. Something is, well, in my mind, part of that is to do with permanence, but I don't think that's all there is to it, really. I mean, the information on the pages of written books is extraordinarily long-lasting, there's no doubt, and probably would last longer than the information encoded onto the surface of a DVD or something like that. So in terms of permanence, there is a case to be made for the book as a better kind of object, if you like, or more objective artifact than a video because of this permanence. But I don't think that's the distinction, really. I think the distinction between a book and other forms of AV content like video is to do with ubiquity, or an assumed ubiquity. And this has probably only been the case really since the invention of the printing press, I assume, and development of publishing. But when something is in a book, it isn't simply that the book itself is permanent. It has this sort of sense of it being everywhere. A book is always available. A book is in every bookshop. It's in every library. It's in the Library of Congress. It's in the British Library. It's in the library of all of the major universities. It may also be available in other forms, but the print copy is always available somehow. You simply turn on this tap of knowledge and out pours this book. And it doesn't matter if one book is destroyed. Of course, the significance of book burning isn't lost, but the fact is that even with book burning, very few books have actually been lost. Not since the Library of Alexandria, probably. Has information really been lost in many cases because of book burning? Because information doesn't live in individual books, it lives in the ubiquitous nature of book-based publishing. That doesn't seem to be the case with, that's not the experienced ontology of video material, or even of web material, web-based material like YouTube videos, for example. Even though this information is available everywhere, and is presumably downloadable, and could in theory be burnt onto DVDs and stacked onto library shelves, it doesn't have that same experiential ubiquity that books have, at least not yet. I'm just wondering what would have to happen in order to give this kind of thing, give video information, AV information, digital information generally, the same kind of ubiquity as the book. I suspect three things would be in place, at least three technological variables would have to alter. One is the amount of memory space available on computers, private computers, personal computers. We know that's going up exponentially. It all follows Moore's law, broadly speaking. And so there could be a theoretical point at which the memory installed on every computer on the planet was capable of storing all of the video information on the planet. It's just a point in the future. Let's imagine that could happen. So one is to do with memory storage. The other is to do with the speed at which information is produced and encoded. And I'm talking about information in the broadest sense here. If we're talking about information being ubiquitous, it would have to be all information, video information. Lots of videos are being made. I don't know how many videos are on YouTube now, but it's hundreds of millions. I feel like I've made hundreds of millions. And so all of that information would have to be encoded on the fly, so to speak, and that would be a contributing factor to this kind of omega point at which all information is accessible and ubiquitous. And the third variable in that would be the way in which that information is distributed, which we, I guess, down to things like network connection speeds, that kind of thing. So, and that would govern the length of time it would take for me to record this video onto this mobile phone and for it to appear on the hard drives of every computer on the planet. Actually, there is a fourth variable which I didn't include, which is to do with indexing and searchability, access of information, which is a huge problem. So I think let's say there was an omega point where the curve described by Moore's law at which memory is becoming available. Let's say that curve is at some point in the future meeting the curve which describes the speed at which new information is being added to the sum total of human knowledge in all forms. And let's say there's also a point which intersects with those two lines, which is the increasing speed of information distribution, network speeds, if you like. If that point was ever reached, and it would demand massive changes in technological development and in the way information is processed, let's say it did meet, then at that point I suspect when my iPod has got the sum total of human knowledge updated every 5 seconds, and everyone's got that iPod, at that stage all information is ubiquitous and all information is equally objective, and all knowledge approaches the condition of the book.